Have you ever pondered on the brevity and fragility of human life? This question brings us to the heart of the 14th chapter of the book of Job in the American Standard Version of the Bible. Here, Job, a man beset by unimaginable suffering, likens human life to a flower that blooms in all its glory, only to wither away in time. He casts our existence as shadows, fleeting and ephemeral, here one moment and gone the next. Job's lamentation is profound and deeply poignant. He underscores the inevitability of decay and death that accompany human life, painting a picture of the transient nature of our existence. This inevitability, he suggests, is as certain as the setting of the sun or the changing of the seasons. But beyond the melancholy, Job's words stir something within us, leading us to question the purpose of suffering and the meaning of life itself. As Job implies, we are here today and gone tomorrow. But what is the point of all this suffering? Have you ever questioned the fairness of life? This is exactly what we encounter in Job chapters 15 and 16. At this juncture, Job is in the middle of a dialogue with his friends, a discourse that tests the boundaries of their understanding of divine justice. Their belief was simple and straightforward: suffering is a direct result of sin. But Job, in his agony, challenges this conventional perspective. He argues that life, in all its complexity, does not follow this predictable pattern. The righteous often suffer, he points out, while the wicked seem to prosper. This flies in the face of their worldview, a worldview that perceives life as a predictable, just world where good is rewarded and evil is punished. Job's argument is a radical departure from the traditional belief. He paints a picture of a world that is not so black and white, a world where the lines between righteousness and wickedness, between suffering and sin, are blurred. Job's perspective is uncomfortable, unsettling even, but it is also profoundly human. His words echo the sentiments of many who have looked around and questioned the apparent unfairness of life. In this dialogue, Job is not just questioning his friend's understanding of divine justice, he is challenging ours as well. As we delve deeper into Job's discourse, we are invited to question, to ponder, and to confront our own understandings of divine justice. Job argues that the world is not as black and white as it seems. The lines between the righteous and the wicked, between suffering and sin, are blurred. Have you ever felt the need for someone to bridge the gap between you and the divine? This is where we find Job in chapter 16 of the book of Job in the American Standard Version of the Bible. It's a deeply human, deeply relatable moment. Job cries out for a mediator, someone who comprehends both the human and divine realms, someone who can plead on behalf of humanity. Job is in the midst of profound suffering, his world turned upside down. He's wrestling with the big questions, the kind that keep us up at night. He's asking why, and he's asking how. How can he reconcile his understanding of a just and loving God with the reality of his suffering? He yearns for a mediator, someone who can bridge the gap, someone who can translate his human experience into a language that the divine can understand and respond to. This mediator in Job's conception is more than just a go-between. This figure is an advocate, a defender, a translator of the human condition. This mediator is someone who can stand before God and articulate the depth and breadth of human suffering, someone who can advocate for mercy, for understanding, for compassion. Job's cry for a mediator underscores his enduring faith, even amidst his profound suffering. It's his plea for understanding, for someone to bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine. Have you ever found yourself questioning your faith during times of hardship? This very question echoes throughout the life of Job, presenting a compelling paradox. Amidst the depths of his suffering, Job does not cast his faith aside. Rather, he clings to it with a fervor that is both inspiring and perplexing. His trials do not lead to a rejection of faith, but instead they provoke a profound interrogation of it. Job grapples with the nature of God, the purpose of his pain, and the significance of his existence. He does not shy away from asking the hard questions, and it is through this questioning that his faith becomes a dynamic, living entity. Job's faith is not a passive acceptance but an active engagement with the divine. It's a journey of seeking and questioning, of wrestling with the mysteries of existence. He shows us that faith is not about ignoring life's challenges, but about confronting them head-on. In the midst of his suffering, Job teaches us that faith is not about blind acceptance. It's about wrestling with the hard questions, about seeking understanding even when the divine seems distant.